Good morning, duelists, and welcome back to another installment of A Road to Master Ryzeal. Real quick, I did want to say a quick thank you to everyone that's been subscribing to the channel. We are quickly closing the gap to our first 100 subscribers, which has been amazing, so thank you for showing your support. Now, for today, I am going to be going through my deck list, and we will be adding the Shark package to the deck. Reason being is because while Pure is still pretty strong, the Sharks do add a higher ceiling for the deck, as Jackson put it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know what ceiling and floor means for the game. I'm still learning, but I'll take Jackson's advice. I have seen a few combo videos for Shark Ryzeal, and it seems pretty simple. I think the whole point of Sharks is to try and eat up any interaction our opponent has before we get to Toad. If they don't interact with us, then we get a free negate. We've got locals tonight. Also, we've got Penrith regionals. If not next weekend, then a fortnight from that weekend. So we got to get as much practice in with the deck. Hopefully we can get our invite. But yeah, I'm going to go sort through the deck. So we've got the deck list built up. There's a few things that I might change for the list depending on how we go tonight at locals. Mainly just the hand traps, just because there's so many useful hand traps in this format that it's hard to know what you should be maining, what you should be siding, but I'll show you what I've got and we'll go over the thought process. So everything's pretty stock standard. We've got the 3 ice, 3 X, 3 sword, and a node. So pretty stock standard stuff. I've seen a couple of lists dropping a sword Ryzeal, but I feel like if you're playing closer to Pure, there's no real reason to not play him at 3. I understand that he can brick sometimes, but he's still combo, if that makes sense. Rounding off our Ryzeal cards, we've got Cross and Plugin. Now, Plugin has saved me so many times. If you remember in the last video, we went up against Materiactor Goblins. We were in a pretty bad state where he got so many monsters on board and tried to attack all of my monsters and then trying to attack for additional damage. Luckily, we had Plugin set, so we were able to special summon a Ryzeal name, so that way he couldn't clear anything from my life points, which did come in handy because we eventually got him in time. Not the best way to win, but it was still one of those situations where Plugin just showed its worth. And of course we're playing 3 Bonfire. Not too much to say about this card. It's just a searcher for our X or Ice. Gets the ball rolling. Probably going to get a limit in the next ban list. Moving on to the hand trap side of things, this is probably where I'm the most conflicted, just because I'm using some ideas that other players have been using. I'll show you what I mean, because I am running 3 Forloss as well as 3 Droll. So I think the main idea is if you're playing against a Ryzeal variant and they go to normal summon Ice and use its effect, you drop this on them. And as soon as they special summon, you get the draw, and then depending on what they special summon, they'll add to hand, and then once they add to hand, you draw them. I'm not too certain if that's the actual strat or if there's other ways you can go around it. And if I don't know, then I probably shouldn't play Droll with the full loss, but at the same time I am a bit more in favor with Droll, say over something like Nibiru, because the issue I've been having with Nibiru lately is it just feels like combo for my opponent, if that makes sense. It's either that or Nibiru will just be a brick in the hand because my opponent made it to a Omni negate before Nibiru was live. So that's why I'm playing Droll in main for now, because I feel like 1, it just ends your opponent's turn a lot better than Nibiru does, and 2, it isn't once per turn, so they can call by it. If you have another one in hand, you can just activate that. It has a lot more utility than I feel Nibiru does. But enough with the rambling. To round out our monster hand traps, we are playing 3 Ash Blossom and 2 Effect Veiler. I would like to fit in another Veiler, but I don't want to go over 41, because 41 for me is that sweet spot. So yeah, that's why Veiler's at 2. I could probably cut something to bring it up to 3, but I feel like 2's perfectly fine for me. For the spells, we are playing 2 Talents, 2 Tronus, 2 Cross Out Designator, and 1 Call By. Now, the reason why I'm playing Call By over a 3rd Designator or playing 3 Designator and a Call By is because I don't necessarily want to open more than one of this. So having this there to kind kind of try and balance out the other two. Just makes more sense over bricking on a third one. Metal Tronus is a really good card in the format currently, so there's no reason not to play it. However, I have been kind of weighing up whether I should push it to the side and try and push through with just my main engine, and maybe this will be where the third Veiler can come in and I can just have it at a flat 40 and then push this to the side and maybe add another copy. Not too sure, but we'll test it out in main for now. And talents, there's no real reason to not play talents. It's just a crazy card to be able to resolve. To look at your opponent's hand and put one back, or take control of your opponent's monster, it makes it such a versatile going first or second card. It's very rare that I'd want to use the draw two effect, mainly because that tells your opponent more about your hand than what you probably think. And for the last of the hand traps, it's just Imperm. Nothing really too much to say about it. It's just a staple. And lastly, for the reason for this deck profile, we are doing Tachyon, Surfacing Big Jaws, and Drake Shark. As I mentioned earlier, the Sharks just add a higher ceiling for the Ryzeal card. The Shark engine basically forces your opponent to hand trap you early so you don't have an Omni negate, and then you can just facilitate your Ryzeal plays afterwards, or don't hand trap you early and they now have to deal with the Omni. I will probably be including 7th Ascension to the list, maybe tonight, depending on if Jackson brings them in. And you might be saying, oh, that plays really hard into Droll and Lockbird, and you're right, it does, but at the same time, most of the deck plays hard into Droll and Lockbird, so it doesn't really matter. Moving on to the extra deck, I do feel like it's for the most part solved, potentially. We'll see how it goes, but we are running 2 Detonator, and obviously we're running 2 Duo Drive, as well as 2 Eclipse Twins. Nothing too much to say. I feel like this is standard. Maybe we could cut down a Duo Drive or a Eclipse Twins, but at the same time, I feel like the second copy always comes up for me. For our 7th Tachyon searches, we are running Star Seraph for our Ryzeal monsters, and we are playing Ragnar Zero for our Sharks. Speaking of the Sharks, we are playing Barmet Shark. That will also get us into our Totally Awesome. And for the utility cards, we are playing Dweller. Pretty much shuts off a good portion of the decks in this format. There's really no reason not to play him at the moment until he gets banned in the next ban list, hopefully. For our next utility 4, we are playing Starliege Photon. Reason being is there's a combo line where you can end on this, as well as a 2 material Duo Drive, which basically makes everything untargetable because of this dude. For the next utility card, we are playing Aggregator. Nothing much to say. Send this off X to negate whatever you want. Pretty good card. And next is Typhon. A little bit hit or miss with this card. It does come up when you need him, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about him just right now. And for the last utility 4, we are playing Exciton Knight. I am heavily considering cutting this in favor of Dugaris. Reason being is there's a lot of monsters in this format that are just higher than 3000, and not having the ability to try and attack over them is a little bit frustrating. While yes, Exciton does offer a board wipe, I feel like trying to clear for game is a little bit more important. I don't know if this is making any sense. Thinking about cutting Exciton for Dugaris. Moving on to the side deck, most of this is pretty solved because of how the format is. So, for example, we've got Lancia for against Malice, we've got Perulia against Pure Ryzeal. Meows is for rogue decks that might be a bit more graveyard or banish heavy. Now, this is the portion of the side deck that isn't solved because we are playing Triple Tactics Thrust, 2 Lightning Storm, and D-Barrier. I'm heavily considering cutting pretty much all of this portion of the side deck purely because there's not enough Triple Tactic searches. Lightning Storm could probably stay to deal with back row heavy deck, but at the same time I could probably just keep in Exciton for that reason, or just use Detonator to pop whatever comes my way. And D-Barrier, I'm impartial to it. It doesn't really do much, especially with all the split routes that Ryzeal's going towards these days. They'll still probably end on something a bit better. But yeah, that's the entire deck list for now. There's still a few things that I'd change, but I think I'm going to just run this for locals tonight. So that was the list. If you have any thoughts or suggestions that I should implement for it, feel free to leave that down in the comment section below. I am going to start working on some combos just so I'm not going into tonight blind. But before we head off and figure out some combos, we do have some mail here. So let's open that up and see what we got. So I did open this a little bit beforehand, just so that way it's a little bit more streamlined on how I open this. Some of this is from eBay because we needed some cards, and I think 2 of these cards are from auction. Just bear with me while I struggle to open this up on camera. All right, after a bit of struggle, we did manage to get the cards out, and to start us off, we've got Kashtira Fenrir. We already have our playset, however, I don't know where my playset went, so picked up another playset. They were relatively cheap anyway. I think there's people thinking that it will get hit on the ban list. I don't know. For the next card, we've got Yadagarasu. I don't know why I picked this up. It was just an impulse bid. So yeah, and the unfortunate bid after that was an ulti Kashtira Fenrir. I thought this card was a little bit more expensive than what it was, so when I put in a bid, it was a little bit higher than what it's worth, so of course we won, but still pretty stoked about that. It's such a cool ulti, so there's really no complaint. So yeah, there's our 4 Fenrirs and a Yadagarasu. It's pretty cursed, honestly. All right, I really do have to end this portion of the video because my mic is about to die, so I don't really want to have to deal with the change of audio quality. So gonna get some testing done, see how I like the deck, and then we'll head out to locals. We'll see you there. Made it to the locals. Jackson ended up coming through with the 7th section, so we'll be playing that in the main deck. I think I took out Veiler. See how it goes. If it doesn't work out, then I can always change it. How's it going, guys? Catching you on the quick round 1 update. We got a 2-0 against Tempai Bestial. We just completely drew the nuts both games. He did have me on the ropes, maybe game 1, of course board breakers, but I knew what he was on based on the fact that he made me go first. So yeah, needless to say, I was a little bit nervous about the matchup. Obviously haven't played Tempai maybe since November last year, just before it got banned. Oh, Chandra got the limit, and was it Kaiman that also got limited? I don't know. Still nervous nonetheless, but I'm glad we still got it. Hopefully this bodes well for the rest of the night. So I'll catch you on the next one. Another quick note, I did really like how the deck performed. And it wasn't Veiler that I took out, it was Metal Tronus that I took out, but I put it back in the side deck just for the mirror match. I think I can play without it, especially with Photon Starliege. I know there's comebacks that people are trying to get out to counter Starliege, but I'll take that as I will. But yeah, really liked how the deck performed. We're also joined here by Collie TV.
Thank you. Watch solo leveling.
Hey, what did you think of the new season?
Bro, peak. Bro, anime, real light plot, sick fights. It's good, turn your head off, believe the hype. Not everything has to be 60 layers deep.
I still haven't watched.
You haven't watched it?
No.
Bro, peak, watch it.
I need to. I've been meaning to. Gachi Akuta is going to be the next one that I'm going to watch. It looks sick.
You throw on some gang signs and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was trying to summon the millennials, bro. I was going to summon Exodia without...
Quick round 2 update. We went up against Jackson. We already know how this goes. He got me, but at least it wasn't a complete slaughterhouse like the last few times. Game 1, both of us were just passing turns because we both didn't really open great, but he managed to top deck a ice and get into combo. I didn't really have anything to stop him. Game 2, he drolled me, but I still had enough extenders to make a meaningful board, and his top deck was a Veiler, so we went straight into game 3. Game 3, it was a bit back and forth. Admittedly, I made a few mistakes. Probably could have played a little bit better, but still learning it. I think somewhat doing decently against Jackson now. Who knows?
But yeah, we'll catch you on round 3.
Line to do it, really.
What's wrong, Matthew?
Unlimit them.
Who?
The Tachyon line, at least, you don't really go off of line for.
Are you really just going to make me wait until you show what?
Yeah.
The yummy
Absolutely.
ones you have to play
Unlimit
all
them.
the fucking
Oh,
They did nothing
you
wrong.
have it in your phone. Why?
The way that they should
Unlimit them.
Like,
That's all I can say.
So, Justin,
just lock you out of hand.
when can we expect a collab?
Collab. Subscribe to my OnlyFans. So, this weekend.
Ooh.
But
Was quick round 3 and 4 update. That's all the rounds now, I think. Round 3 was against Tachyon. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the catapult turtle, so no FTK. Won game 1, lost game 2, won game 3, nearly into time, but we managed to clear his life points. He had skill drain set up, Typhon on board, and he had a way to play, but because Typhon was on board, I think it conflicted with his further combos, so we managed to get it there. Game 4, we went up against pure Ryzeal. Game 1, I got to go first, but he played Fualos twice, so we lost out on being able to play correctly. I think we just ended on a 2-material detonator. Game 2, I think we went nearly full combo. We had detonator, duo drive, and I think we had Star Liege on board, or a way to nearly get to Star Liege. I know it wasn't the complete board. We could have done it, but we misplayed a little bit. Still managed to get that one. And game 3, we full lost him on his turn, drew 2 cards deep, drew another 4 loss. So he ended on a subpar board. He did end up drawing the second 4 loss after, I think it's when I drew into the 4 loss and tried to activate it, and then he chained droll, maybe. I activated Metal Tronus as my first interaction. He had nothing to really do from there. Again, we didn't attack the game going second, but passed to him. In hand, he only had a bonfire and drew into another bonfire. So being able to droll him after the bonfire search pretty much meant he had nothing else to play with. So yeah, we got round 4 on that one. How did you go, Jake?
Just send it later.
Nah, they're good.
You're good?
I didn't open any guides. I lost no roll. I saw no Ryzeals. I opened 1 starter. He hand trapped it. I opened 2 hand traps. He had the answers for both. Yep, that'll do it.
Riveting.
I was doing it before.
Why'd you do that to him?
I owed him 1. OTS, I double bricked both games. Oh, actually, I didn't double brick. He challenged my life away. We're even now. And then he's going to come for my cheeks.
Alright, we just finished up locals. 4 rounds today, went 3-0. Obviously, our 1 loss was to Jackson. Again, I already recapped what happened in that. So what did we face? Round 1 was against Tenpai Bestial. Round 2 was against Ryzeal Fiendsmith. We lost that one, unfortunately. Round 3 was against Tachyon without the catapult turtle, so no FTK. And round 4 was against pure Ryzeal. Shout out to Caleb for giving me his Grey Squirmer from his prizing. Let's rip open the packs. I am happy with how the deck performed. Obviously, there's still some things I'd change. I definitely think I'm going to drop the Exciton Knight in favor of Dugaris. I just feel like I need that thing to push the game a bit more, because I sometimes just have to pass turn to my opponent, and that gives them the opportunity to continue on. All right, so what did we get from this one? We got Break the Seal, Antidote Nurse, Thunder Dragon Roar, Crystron Fella, Nebula Dragon, Swords Old Mogi. That's a throwback. That was my first ever deck that I've played. I wish that it was playable in this format, but unfortunately, with Nibiru walking around, it is not optimal. And the amount of hand traps. Rank up Magic, Magical Force, Temple of the Kings, Gladiator Beast, Tamer Editor, Lumina, Twilight Sworn Shaman, Dangers of the Divine, Sword Soul Shishia, and Golden Allure. For the last pack, I'm really hoping that we get an ulti. More specifically, ulti Dark Fusion, that would be sick. The 4-mage Plush Fire. That kind of looks like an ulti border, but maybe not. Fiendsmith Sequence. Ah well. Look, can't complain. Went pretty well today. Hopefully we can get into more practice before regionals. So yeah, that was Road to Master Ryzeal. Don't know what episode we're up to now. At this stage we're just freestyling it. As I said, quick takeaway, deck performed really well. There was maybe once where I had a semi-unplayable hand, but even then we still played through a lot. Getting double 4 lost definitely did hurt, but again, we managed to fight back and take the round win. Only thing that I really want to change is getting rid of Exciton. I had no need for him whatsoever, even when things were dire. I just think he could have been something else, and I think Dugaris is that something else. Being able to double attack and push for game definitely would have come up a lot, especially maybe against the round again with Jackson. Again, probably not too much I could have done against him. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing, especially now we are closing in on 100 subscribers. But yeah, the next video, hopefully I can do another locals before we go to Penrith Regionals. Don't know how that's going to look, especially because Penrith Regionals is the weekend of the next locals. I could probably go to the Friday one depending on work, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching. See ya.